Hey everybody, this is Allison Hyde from stlprostretch.com, and today we're going to talk about foam rolling. I know a lot of you have foam rollers, but most people I talk to say they don't ever get them out. Like once a year you get them out. So maybe this video will help you get your foam roller out. You know, they come in all different lengths and sizes. I just prefer the small ones and the high density ones because I like to experience just a lot of great pain and healing in my body. So we're gonna start out with just the basics today. We're gonna sit on the foam roller and do the glutes. So first of all, you're just gonna roll up and down, which probably doesn't feel like much. Maybe for you guys with tight hips, it feels like it's enough. And then we're gonna do one glute at a time. So I'd like you to roll over to your right hip or your left, whichever one you prefer. And you're gonna roll up and down that glute. Now, I feel a little bit, I don't feel a lot. To increase what I feel or to get deeper into those external rotators, cross your ankle, the same hip that you're rolling on, cross that ankle over the other knee and roll up and down. And you should experience a lot more mashing, as I like to call it, going on, or smashing. So basically we're doing self-massage. We're working some of the tension out of the muscle. And basically what they've said nowadays is it doesn't matter whether you roll up or down against the muscle fiber, or if you roll and hold on a specific tight spot, it doesn't matter. It's all good. Unless it's so painful that you can't handle it, in which case the muscle might just be like freaking out and you're not really helping yourself there. It'll tighten up if it feels that. We're going to switch over to the other side. Left glute. Roll up and down. I'm not feeling much over here either. A little bit. Maybe I haven't been working my glutes enough. And then to increase what you're feeling, taking the same foot on the same side that you're leaning on and roll up and down. And that glute maximus is just the big tent, the big house that covers all the smaller glute muscles that are underneath there. And they're kind of hard to get to, so that's why I recommend crossing the ankle over. And if you get up high and kind of to the side, you're going to get into that glute medius minimus area, and that's where a lot of people are tight too, so you might want to roll up a little bit higher. Okay, then we're going to move on. We're going to do the quads. This one can be quite painful, so take it easy, and I'll give lots of different options for what you can do to minimize or maximize the pain here. If you've never done this before and it's excruciating, it gets better. The more you do it, the less it will hurt. So we're going to start. This is a little bit of an abdominal workout as well. We're going to start with the foam roller here. I'm going to lay on top of it. And I'm going to put my hands out like that. So just kind of like a forearm plank. And I'm going to start walking forward and just rolling up and down the center of the quad. So basically we're getting rectus femoris and vastus intermedius, the front of your quad. Quad has 4 muscles, actually kind of 5 if you count the sartorius, but so a lot of people when they foam roll, they only foam roll the front part, but usually what I find with a lot of people is the tightest part of your quad is on the outside, the lateral quad, the vastus lateralis. So to get that muscle, I'm going to take my knee out to the side and I'm kind of going to roll onto the outside of my quad. I'm using my hand and my core to keep myself from putting too much pressure on the quad because that can get kind of icky and painful. Right now it's actually feeling really good, so I don't need to, we don't want to get sloppy and, you know, just like let the core go. So make sure you're holding your belly in. And they say what, navel to spine. And I'm rolling up and down on the outside of that quad. Another thing that I like to do in this kind of sideline position is get all the way up into the hip flexor. As I do, I'm kind of rolling forward onto my belly a little bit more. And here's where sometimes if you find a tight pocket in here, say I'm feeling something right in here, I'm going to do something called shearing. So I'm going to lay on that muscle, as long as it's not too painful, and I'm going to bend and lengthen. Woo! Yeah, definitely feeling that. That's called shearing. So the muscle is lengthening while it's got all this tension on it. And then we're going to switch to the other side. And I'm going to turn around so that I can still see, because otherwise I'd be looking the other direction. So next leg, I'm laying on it. I'm going to bring my knee out to the side. Maybe you could even shove your foam roller over a bit so you're like this leg is completely off. And I'm going to roll up and down. You can go all the way up and all the way down, or all the way down and all the way up. When I have private clients, I spend an awful lot of time working on loosening these muscles up. Foam rolling, mashing, smashing, and also just to see where is, if you notice, like, where is the tightest part of my quad? That's going to tell you a lot about muscle imbalances that you may have. So if this lateral part of your quad is hurting or the most painful during the foam rolling, you're feeling more sensation here, then that may be telling you that you have a really tight lateral quad, and you may need to work on the balancing muscle, which would be your inner hamstring. Strengthening that inner hamstring. So I'm going to go all the way up to the hip flexor, get right up here. I didn't time both sides. I hope I'm giving you even time, but feel free to replay this video over and just do it all over again. Start on the other leg. I would say, you know, if you can do a minute on each side, that would be awesome. That's about all people can usually handle. You know, it's hard to inflict pain on yourself, right? It's much easier to just go get a massage and have somebody else do it for you. So then we're going to get into the hamstrings, and I feel like the hamstrings are really hard to foam roll because they can take actually a lot more pressure most of the time than the quads. The quads are, they're muscle upon muscle, so you have muscles that are like covering up another muscle, which is why it tends to feel more painful. Plus, it's just the nature of the muscle. But with the hamstrings, you know, you can sit on it and just roll up and down. Sometimes that's not enough for people, so we cross a leg over, roll up and down. You can roll to the outside of the leg, roll to the inside of the leg. What usually surprises me here is you can really feel the different hamstrings. We have 3 hamstrings. Yes, we have the semimembranosus, which is the inside hamstring, and it is really the only hamstring that, oh, no, it's not. It's one of the 2 hamstrings that connects on the inside of the leg. And then they all originate at the same point, but that outside hamstring is usually the tightest. But usually when I'm foam rolling, if I can get myself kind of rolling to the inside, I can really feel that medial hamstring, that's semimembranosus. And I'm going to do the other side. Rolling up and down. outside. Ooh, I'm feeling something down by the lower part of that. So this outside hamstring, the biceps femoris, is usually the tightest, usually the most overworked of the 3 hamstrings, but that's not always the case. It's just usually, typically, we tend to overwork the outer hamstring, which bumps right up next to the IT band. So you may be feeling a little bit more pain on the outside because the IT band is right there. I do not roll my IT band. It's connective tissue. It doesn't really respond very well to foam rolling. It's the muscles around it that get tight, and they can cause it to feel tighter, and then you can end up with IT band issues or IT band syndrome, or whatever they call it. And then calves, well, I have a whole another video on calves. So, you know, you can foam roll your calves like this, but I have another video on self-care for calves that's probably a little bit more useful. Now, if you don't have a foam roller, you probably didn't watch this video, but you know what you can do? If you have a rolling pin at home, or they actually make massage tools like this, you can just kind of get in there like that. It's awesome. It really does feel good. I know it's probably not something you ever thought about doing before, or if maybe you're not into baking. Maybe you can start a new hobby with this rolling pin and get your foam rolling in too. I mean, I'm feeling it here. The one thing about it is that I'm sitting in this bent position, so my quad is already like kind of tightened up a little, especially up here near the top. So if you have a foam roller, it'd be much better to get stretched out in that plank position so that you can not have to worry about the muscles tightening up. So that is basically your lower body foam rolling, with the exception of the calves. There's more, but the basics that I do in my class and I tell people to do on their own. So hopefully you get something out of this. Replay it, do it again, and then do some stretching. Quad stretching is coming up next in the next video. Have a great day.